Hi, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk. I am Allison Gillum, and I'm the Senior Community Relations Coordinator here at Gift of Life, Michigan. Today, we're going to be talking to Ramona Chapman about first person authorization, what exactly that means, and how it impacts the donation process. Well, welcome, Ramona. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about first person authorization and why it's so important as it relates to organ and tissue donation.
Awesome. I'm excited about being here with you today to talk about this subject.
Yes, well, Ramona, I know you need no introduction, but for those that may not be familiar with Ramona, she is our fabulous Director of Public Education and Community Relations, and also the MOTEC program here at Gift of Life, Michigan. So, Ramona, it's always a privilege to have some time to talk with you, but especially about important stuff like first person authorization and what it means, how this affects the donation process. So, thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you. And I agree that first person authorization is something that's extremely important. It's something that we should be talking about more. And the great thing about first person authorization is it was something that was born out of the community of people really wanting to make sure that their wishes, that they had documented their wishes to become organ and tissue donors. And they didn't want their family or anyone to be able to change that decision after death. So therefore, first person authorization is something that I think is very important for us to always talk about.
Absolutely. Some fancy words for some really important things as it relates to organ donation. And I do love that this came out of community and the importance of involving families in discussions about decisions about organ and tissue donation. You know, one of the things I hear out in community all the time is, well, I didn't sign up on the donor registry, but I have it in my will. So shouldn't that, cover it? Isn't that good enough? And people talk about advanced directives, but talk a little bit more about why is it so important that people join the organ donor registry and just the nature of the first person authorization as it relates to the donor registry.
I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One is that the donor registry is the document the Gift of Life Michigan has. That documents a person's wishes to become an organ donor. And so it is something that it is legally, it is a covenant. It is legally binding that this person made a decision that they wanted to share the gifts after death. And therefore, Gift of Life Michigan is committed to ensure that we honor that particular decision. And so we do not have access to a person's will. We do not have access to a person's advance directives. What we do have access to, however, is the organ donor registry. And so that is a document that gives us the information that we need. And we still encourage people to talk to their families. However, when we have a signed organ donor registry on file, when a person has made that decision to sign up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry, we will do all within our power to make sure that we honor that wish. And so therefore, when we come and talk to the families, when our staff comes to talk to the family at the hospital, we're not coming to ask for permission. We're coming to acknowledge the authorization. We're coming to acknowledge the decision that that particular person has made. We still need to get information from the family, and we will definitely do that. But once again, it is something that we want to honor that particular person's wishes to become an organ and tissue donor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was really well said. And I think just really goes to how important this is when it just plays into the donation process in general, right? It's kind of like the first piece. When somebody makes that decision to be a donor, we're really doing everything we can to honor that person's decision, like you said. So, could you speak to a little bit more about just how important it is, like how it can impact or affect the donation process? Maybe give an example of how that process goes when we don't have a first person authorization in place, and how it really makes the whole all of it so much easier if we do have access to that decision.
A couple of things. I think, first of all, I want to, really commend our donation support specialists, our donation coordinators. These are persons that are trained, very compassionate, sensitive to help navigate a family through that particular moment. And so when we have a signed organ donor registry, when we have a person, we're able to show that particular document to the family. If by chance the family does not know prior, we hope that the family already knows something prior to that. But if we have a donor registry, then we're able to once again come to the family, talk to the family about it, acknowledging the gift of the decision that the person has made, and how we are, coming there to move forward and honor that decision. Again, we will still talk to the family to get some medical social history about the particular organ and tissue donor. But once again, families always want to do what we can to honor the decision and wishes of our loved ones. And so when we have that donor registry, that allows that family, to focus on, once again, honoring that decision. If by chance we do not have an organ donor registry, we still have our staff that will talk to the family, share with the family, first of all, to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the family. That's what our donation support specialists do. They're there to, once again, just to make sure that everything that has been shared with the family understands that particular that information. And then we'll talk to them again after brain death declarations. That's when we are called. That's when we enter into the conversation, and we'll talk to them. And at some point in time, as our donation support specialists are talking to the family, we will focus on what type of person that particular person is. And most people will tell you, my loved one was a loving person, very caring, was always out trying to help someone, would do any and everything that they could to help another person. And so therefore, we'll take that information and also begin to have the conversation. Well, here's another opportunity for that particular person to continue to help. And that they can still, they can become a hero and save the lives of others, even though their life has been transformed from its present physical state. And so as a result of that, I think that even though there's more conversation, I think that once again, it focuses on, it still always comes back to the potential donor. And I think that focusing on that person, I used to always say that person is the most important person in the room. And again, as I shared earlier, this was born out of people saying, I do not want people to be able to override my decision. Right. And so I think that, we should commend the citizens in Michigan for wanting first person authorization.
I agree. Right. I mean, I think it's so great to know that people want to make sure that their decisions around this are being honored, and that when somebody signs up to be an organ donor, they're saying, I mean this, and I want that decision to be respected. And I think it's just a great way for us to uphold that. And I think in general, Ramona, this is one of those things, like, not a lot of people know about it, right? It's just, so this is great here too, that we're kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit today and kind of taking the mystery out of it. What essentially does that mean? And so I'm glad too that, you've been talking a little bit more about how families are involved. Yes, the donor, that is the person, the most important person in this process, right? And honoring their decision to donate organs and tissues. But that being said, I like how you talked about how we work so closely with their families, right? So we want to be respectful of them and involve them in this process. So what really is the donor family role once, say we have this first person authorization? What could a family kind of expect? How can they expect to be involved after that?
So I think that during the process, the family can expect that once again, our team will be there to be very supportive and provide any and everything that we possibly can at that particular point in time. Many times families have many questions. And again, our staff is equipped to answer those particular questions, including providing additional resources to them in case that they need to contact funeral homes or different things. We have a funeral home liaison person that, I'm sorry, we have a couple of people now that work with
Yes.
us. And so as a result of that, I think that we provide the services that are needed for end of life care. And so I think that not only that, and then after that particular person becomes an organ donor, then we still have a family support team that follows up with that particular family, that sends them correspondence about the gifts that their loved one has shared. We provide comfort blankets to those particular families that, once again, I think is a very sensitive way for us to share and show. That was a program that, once again, began with our Michigan Donor Family Council. And so I think that what we see is a Gift of Life Michigan from the beginning of a person signing up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry until after the donation process, and that particular person is a donor, to our donor families, that once you enter into this Gift of Life Michigan family, that you are a part of us forever. And we will continue to provide nurturing, again, all types of resources that we can. So we have a donor family gathering where we will invite families to from the year before to come to once again for us to honor their particular loved one. There are different events that we have throughout the year that we will invite our donor families to also participate in. And if, again, if they need additional resources, our donation support specialists, some of them are chaplains. And so we're once again able to provide resources in case persons need additional support that is a little bit more extensive than what we might have. But I think that we're extremely resourceful.
Yeah, absolutely. Just definitely like a holistic approach to supporting families through this whole process, right, beginning to end. And we're just so grateful for their loved ones' gifts. And I think you did a really great job of touching on like all the different ways that we work with families and support them. So one of the things I kind of want to wrap up our conversation talking about the importance of family conversations in general, right?
Yes.
When especially, when somebody is making the decision to join the organ donor registry, whether that be, maybe they're thinking about it or they were at the Secretary of State that day and they happen to say, yes, I want my name added to the registry. Should that be it? Do we want people to just sort of keep these decisions to themselves? What would you recommend, Ramona?
Absolutely not. What we want them to do is we want them to share those decisions. We want them to feel good about the decision that they have made to become an organ, tissue, and eye donor. I think that once again, we talk about heroes, but we're talking about people that want to make a difference in the lives of people that they will never meet. And I think what better way to show the love of humanity, the care of humanity, than to sign up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry and be proud of that decision. So when you're at different places, we have a campaign entitled Check Your Heart, where we tell people to pull out your driver's license and show the little red heart symbol on your driver's license. And we want people to ask you, what is that? And that's your opportunity to share with them.
Mhm.
I am a proud organ donor. I have signed up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry. We want them to share that information with their family. Once again, we understand that families, whenever we lose loved ones, that it is a moment that none of us are completely prepared for. And so anything that we can do to eliminate the burden and the weight of that particular moment, I think is something that we want to do. And I think even once again, I want to go back to family conversations earlier prior to first person authorizations,
Mhm.
where people would say, I want my family to know what it is that I want to do. I don't want them to have to guess and try to make a decision. I want them to know. And I think that happens when you sign up on the registry and you tell your family about it. I think that that's just a wonderful gift of love that we can give to our families and to our friends and people in the community about the importance of organ and tissue donation.
Yeah, definitely something to be proud of. So when you sign up on the registry, tell somebody, right?
Tell
Yeah.
somebody.
Tell your friends, tell your family. And like Ramona just said, be proud of it, own it, and when you get a chance to show people that heart on your license, do so. And if you get an opportunity to explain why it's important to you, add that in too. You never know who you might inspire to sign up. But Ramona, I think this has been so helpful. Is there anything that you would like to add, just in general about first person authorization, importance of involving family in these discussions?
Think I would want to, once again remind everyone that first person authorization is a legal covenant. It's a legal document. It's just like your will. You can't, I can't leave everything to Allison and then somebody come along and say, no, it wasn't that Allison, it was another Allison. Okay. And so, I think that we want people to understand that it is a legal document, that it's a document that documents with sincerity what a person's wishes and desires were. And so, therefore, we're going to carry out the wishes of that particular person. I think the other thing that I would like to say is that during holidays and family gatherings, let's talk about organ and tissue donation. Let's share that information with our family so that everyone knows that, once again, that you're proud of the decision that you have made to become an organ, tissue, and eye donor. So I think that's, pretty much what I'd like to say, other than thank you to the people in Michigan that made this first person authorization a priority for us here in the state.
Yeah, well said. And I would be remiss if I didn't encourage people who have watched this video to share it. There's some good information here. So be sure to share this, like this. If you have comments for us, please leave them in the comment section. We promise to respond to everybody's comments. If you have questions, feel free to leave them there. And Ramona, thank you again. It's always so wonderful when I get some time to chat with you, and especially about important stuff like this.